Welcome to Screenhops.
I'm your host, Asia Cohen.
I'm Tony. I'm Max.
I'm Rock.
I'm Valentine.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Fabio.
And take it away, Asia.
All right, so basically, I thought the first topic, as this is our first podcast, was to do something pretty generic. So we're going to start off with the gaming side of our podcast, and we're going to go from this order over with everyone's favorite games. Like, all-time favorite.
Are we talking about, like, genre, or?
No, your all-time favorite game.
Dude, I don't know. I don't
Next!
know.
And next. Anyway.
Alright, I like Quake 3. I think it's a great game.
Why?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Welcome to a podcast where you discuss things.
I like
Quake
blowing
3 is a-
shit up.
Yeah, there you go.
Blood and chunks everywhere.
There you go.
Kill, kill, kill.
That's my answer.
All right.
Is
all
it-
right,
oh, it's my
Mega.
turn?
Yeah.
I love Mega Man 2. It is the greatest game of all time. It is well balanced. It's fun. Music makes me want to punch a small baby. Like, it is an incredible game.
Okay.
My favorite's Nier Automata because everything about it is perfection.
Fabian, you got something to say?
Nah, I'm good, bro.
I mean, it's Dylan's turn anyway.
He's over there throwing his sign.
My favorite's also Nier.
Basically the same. It's perfection. My favorite game of all time is definitely Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't know, I just love the story, I love the characters, memorable, everything about it. Probably the game I completed the most times, I think like at least 30 to 35 times, like, and I think 3 times in one day, when I had like a snow day or something.
Jesus Christ.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah,
you know, like,
that
it was just like,
dedication.
but you know,
Dedication.
I was speedrunning it, like I was trying to become a speedrunner of the game. Like I knew everything, I knew where all the Carotans were, where all the fruits and everything, it was just amazing. I love the game.
God damn.
So.
All right. Got
I
an
like
expert
games
on our
that
hands.
much.
And mine is Shadow of the Colossus, all-time favorite, forever. Me and Fabian actually got in an argument about this earlier
I think I'm on
because he's
Fabian's
trash.
side.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Why? No,
after
you know
8
what? We're not
Colossi-
doing this. We're not doing this.
After-
It's amazing, and we
Moving
do
on.
move on.
She's a river in Africa called the Nile.
The game is amazing, and if you guys haven't,
It's amazing
Played it,
for the
it's
first
amazing.
8 bosses.
it's amazing.
All right,
for
so
the whole
moving
time.
on.
Okay, so kind of going from our favorite games, what's your most anticipated game coming out next, based off of E3 or any other gaming news?
Mario Odyssey.
Here we go.
What do you mean, oh god, here we go. What's wrong with
Hard.
Mario Odyssey?
Not gonna lie, it does look pretty sick though.
Looks
I like
smart.
the new.
Why are you pumped for it?
What do you mean, why? It looks so good. It's like Mario Sunshine, but better.
I agree with you, Tony. I agree with you.
What, is it like the free roaming aspect that you
Yeah,
really look forward to?
yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Why?
It just looks boring. It looks like they're throwing Mario in a city and just like letting him run around with some generic ass people that look like they belong on the Dreamcast. It looks bad. I'm sorry. I'm not
I
excited.
gotta agree, it does look
I'm
kind
a
of Dreamcasty.
traditionalist when it comes
does.
to Mario.
All right, Max.
I'm kind of split between Evil Within 2 and the new Wolfenstein 2.
Evil Within 2. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Bethesda games in general.
Well, not Bethesda games in general, though, specifically. Because the what is it? Realization of Wolfenstein has been fantastic. And then, Evil Within was just a great game. So.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm
Skyrim.
hoping they fix the
Okay, alright.
motion though, because it's like it was super choppy in the first one. It felt like really like stiff.
Clunky,
Yeah, like and watching the newest trailer with that chick that's screaming or whatever her character is. Yeah, like her, like it was still really chunky. So I'm just like, I hope they fix that. Just make it a
Well,
little
I
more
think that's
smooth.
kind of like an aspect of horror games, because you see that in a lot of them.
What horror games do you play?
Resident Evil 7 had the same
Yeah,
kind of like clunky,
well,
awkward, like slow
for some
paced
stuff,
movement.
for some of
It
it.
depended on where you were. If you were in water, of course you're gonna have fucking
Yeah.
clunky movement.
Well, Jack moving
was
around
throughout the
in
whole-
general was very clunky.
Yeah,
like
that-
he was
that-
just like
that was
very
pretty
stiff.
clunky.
Yeah.
But that was like intentional though. That wasn't
That's
unintentional.
literally what I
clunkiness.
just said.
Well, I hope that it's not
So,
intentional
I
because
think
I
it's
think
probably-
it would look better smooth.
It's probably designed that way to build suspense as
Yeah.
the player, because you're restricted and you can't move around as fast as you want or react the way.
Oh,
That's why the first Resident Evil games are so great, and why Resident Evil 6 sucks. Is because, like, Resident Evil 1, you could just kind of, it was tank
It was
controls.
scary as
And it was
hell.
scary because you couldn't, it took a while to just run
And
away.
you panic, like, when the zombies would corner you and you start moving, it's very, like, fixed camera angles and you have to rotate your character before you move forward. It's just,
I'm still scared of the dogs.
Yeah,
jumping
it's
through the
crazy.
window.
All right. And who are we on? Lego?
Lego.
Boom.
Yeah.
My most anticipated game?
Yeah. Based off of anything, E3, whatever.
That one Pirates game on the Xbox.
It's just called Pirates in it.
Oh,
Oh, it is.
What is it called? It's
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves,
Yeah.
man. I am so stoked. I freaking love pirates. I'm all about pirates. Like, to be on a pirate ship with all my friends and, like... Oh, yeah, you guys are going to play, right?
Yeah,
No.
Black Flag kind of ruined all
To
pirates.
be on a
for me.
pirate ship with 8 complete strangers. It's just going to be fantastic.
I'd say my most anticipated would definitely be the orc dating simulator.
What?
Wait,
What? What?
No.
Go on.
No. My most anticipated would be Monster Hunter World, because it.
Oh.
Okay.
Cause-
I already knew that though.
Yeah,
I figured out.
It's giant monsters. It's
Mhm.
everything that everybody would ever want in a game. Especially
How old is the game?
the game came out 2000. The first one came out like 2004, I want to say. And
You're baiting yourself. I'm just saying. Fabian's about to retort with something.
No,
I'm
you're
just
good.
saying.
Yeah,
You're
look,
baiting
I think this is
yourself.
how
I just want you to know. He's got that look like
this
he's
is
gonna.
how-
He's ready to hop onto something.
it's a game that it progressed. A lot of games they keep the same aspects, but Monster Hunter went from you attack by moving the right stick in a certain angle to being a game where you could have free loading times while fighting giant monsters. Like, you wouldn't have any loading times between zones like they did in the 3DS versions, and there's a lot of space they covered and modernized it. It's a series that's just gone and aged well.
Okay, that was good. That was a good explanation. I was gonna come up with something smart, but
Yeah, I was going to be an
Oh,
asshole.
shut down. All right, Dylan.
Mine would also be Monster Hunter World, but since I don't want to say the same thing as Valentine, I'm gonna say the .hack GU remaster. I really like the original one for the PS2, and they're adding more to it, and it was awesome.
Fabian.
for me, does that have to specifically be this year or next year?
Coming
And
out.
just
Anticipated.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it would be Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, that's
I love
good
Cowboys.
shout.
I
Good
love
shout.
Cowboys, and I just love anything Western, and I love Rockstar. So.
Oh, you
combine those
love
two-
Rockstar.
Yes, I love Rockstar. I love Rockstar.
Mm.
100%.
Mm.
What's wrong with Rockstar?
We're gonna get into that later.
PC
We'll,
gamer, yeah.
we're gonna get into that later, guys.
Let's
All
make
right.
this clear, make this clear. Like, I'm not a PC gamer. I'm a console gamer. I prefer. It's not because I can't have a PC. It's just I prefer couch console games with a controller in my hand. What I grew up with, what I'm accustomed to.
But you can have a controller in your hand right now, a PC, and be a part of the PC master race. Or you can just be a console thespian.
a console player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's alright, bro. You're progressive.
Okay, so kind of backboning. Wow, that's no. Backboarding. Backboarding off
I thought
of
you were
Val
gonna say
talking about.
waterboarding after this. You know, waterboarding.
So we're gonna waterboard off of to the next topic here. So kind of going off of Val, like, what do you guys think is, like, for RPGs are really big right now, so what would you say is an RPG, and where do you think it's headed? Anybody, go.
I think RPGs are the definition of what an RPG is kind of broad right now. Back in the day, it was, very, like, you had two types. You had, like, the Japanese turn-based Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and then you had, like, the American RPGs, like Jade Empire and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. But now, like, RPG elements are in almost every major game that has multiplayer right now, just because they're so addictive. So you could almost kind of say that every game is an RPG. But, yeah, you still have, like, Japanese versus American.
I agree with Lego. Like, every game is starting to, like, build into RPG elements. Like, even if you look at, like, 2K, like 2K Sports, like NBA and stuff like that, you see how they're building into, like, you saw the
With
new
the story
2K
modes
Yeah, like,
and-
they're
yeah.
putting story modes.
Like
They have,
FIFA,
like, this
yeah.
new neighborhood thing where you can customize your stats and customize your clothes, your haircut. And it's even getting...
To me, an RPG is something where you grow with the character. Not like not like you grow attached to the character, but there's a lot of games where you yourself just grow with the character. Like, you get better with the game as the game gets harder progressively. In other RPGs, you level up and you put on your stats by yourself. It's something where you grow with the character, not something where everything is fixed. Like, NBA is putting in those elements and giving you your own stats, but they're not doing it to where, like, you grow with the game. You're kind of still in that fixed area with the game.
That could be
I think they are, though. Like, you
That's
look at the creative player
Yeah, that's
that
debatable.
2K's got.
Create your own player,
like,
create your own story.
yeah,
stuff
now
like
it's
that.
like, I think in the new one they have, like, that choice system where you're,
Yeah,
like,
it's
picking your
crazy.
pathways
It's
and,
crazy.
like...
Yeah, you're still doing all of
I
this,
think
but
that's
it's not-
definitely... I
Like,
think
it's
it's
like
nice.
it's too, like I'm not even an avid like sports player, but like seeing like RPG elements like put into a game like that, it makes like even though I'm not a big basketball fan, like I could play something like that. Just like
Yeah.
for the story and like the RPG elements, like building my character, raising his 3-point shot, and just, like becoming like that superstar in the league, playing like some LeBron or something. You know, like
Right.
it's just cool. Like, and I think they're doing that for a lot of games now because like if they put RPG elements in like, even the most simplest games, like you can like have some type of like unique build character of your own that would be
Makes you feel more
yeah,
connected.
it makes you feel more connected, more
Right.
immersive. Stuff
I
like
think something we're forgetting to mention is that there's also like a skill progression in sports
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
So that's there
true.
too.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to,
Yeah.
like, isolate or...
I'm not saying
Or
that
say
sports
that-
games are
Yeah.
literally just press one button and you go that way. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, it's still in that kind of fixed area.
That new like
Yeah.
if you take like a game like FIFA, like you just get the player and that's their
Yeah.
stats.
Like,
However, with the like the
creative
Alex
character,
Hunter, with the Alex Hunter story, like his stats do get better. Ultimately, they're all reaching a fixed point. Like, so, I mean, and I think 2K is probably going to do the same. I mean, you have your fixed players, this is their stats. Like, LeBron's going to be this good, or he's, like, you're not going to be able to improve him or make him any less,
Yeah.
you know?
that's what
So,
I'm,
yeah.
like, in an RPG, you take something that's literally zero and bring them up by yourself, and it,
That's true.
like, gives you that connection to them.
Maybe I'll actually get into sports.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So then would you say that it's kind of, so there's a difference between having a game with RPG elements versus just a game that is an RPG?
Yeah, because there's, like, again, you can put RPG elements into anything. Like, for building and everything, they had that in Dead Space 3.
So let me pose this question to everybody.
Mhm.
Like, do you think, with all these games taking so many RPG elements, do you feel like later on, as games evolve, it's going to be harder to discern one genre
What's a
from the
RPG?
other?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's getting to that point where it's just gonna
Like,
be all
RPG isn't going to be a
Yeah.
game, it's just an element in a game.
Yeah,
Even-
it's
Like,
automatically
it's kind of
just there.
losing its own genre.
Even in the 2000s, there was a horror RPG game called Parasite Eve. It was an RPG, but it was also a horror game.
So would you say that RPG games make a game better if it doesn't have it's lesser?
No, I
So, like, let's say we have more RPG elements in Overwatch. Would you think that would make the game better or worse?
That could make
You
no,
could kind of argue that
It
that
depends.
is
No,
already
no,
has
no.
RPG
Because I mean, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you
because
can
of the abilities.
customize the
Like, it
character
defeats all
and
purpose
like.
being a hero shooter.
It-
Well, I think it's got
What do you
RPG elements in terms of the job system that each character has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just does it in a different way. It's not like, well, I'm leveling up per se. It's just, the RPG element in Overwatch is this is the job that I'm playing as when I go into a match. Like, that's the element.
It also depends on the element put in there. Like, there's a lot of games where they have barely any stereotypical RPG elements, like leveling up. And if games keep putting RPG elements in there, I feel like they would definitely sell better because it makes you feel way more connected to your own, like, personal character. But again, multiplayer games like Overwatch, you can't do that because it would make it too unbalanced. If you had a Roadhog that had, like, 500 attack, and
Yeah,
they pulled
that you up
Diva
level up,
and
right.
one hot shot Diva, it would
Right.
be completely unfair.
You get a lot of
But then
weapons.
with most
Yeah.
like MOBAs or anything, you build like that. There's repercussions.
Mhm.
You build all damage on your guardian or something. Not about like
Yeah.
tank or anything. So I guess it's kind of debatable whether it be game breaking or like.
Well, no, we saw that kind of in Destiny when they did the what was it, Iron Banner thing.
Well, no, not really.
Nah, a lot of people complain about that.
Well, the thing is, that's people like the whole like character is better than yours thing. Like, oh, because I played it basically rewards the players that are actually, I say, good at the game, like good at Crucible per se. Because imagine like having like all these good guns with all these good effects, but it's limited simply because they have to balance the game. Like you can literally go into the Crucible with a level 5 player versus level 20 and thrash him simply because of like the limitations that Crucible, the regular Crucible has. But Iron Band is kind of like the, I don't know, like the more harsh version of the Crucible.
I think we could both agree that Destiny 1 just sucks.
Yeah, it was.
I think that should be the
Yeah,
end
it
of
was
it.
wrong.
Just Destiny 1 sucks.
Destiny 2 so far is good.
I think Destiny was a step in the right direction now.
In terms of like Activision making money off people.
In terms of
That's not too
making
hard.
me feel ripped off. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Buying a $60 game and then going,
Where is the content?
yeah, where is the game? Why does this feel like Phantasy Star Universe on the Xbox 360?
The idea was in the right direction.
Okay, so do you think so? Kind of like with the customization of RPG and things like that. How do you think mods kind of influence that? Like, do they add that RPG element like to games like I don't know GTA and things like that, or is it kind of rip it off in a sense, like water it down?
I think it cheapens the experience.
There are some
It
brilliant
depends on
mods.
It depends.
I don't know.
Skyrim
really
had
depends.
that
Depends.
one German mod that was fantastic. It was an amazing mod, and it improved the game because Skyrim's garbage.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you mean by like this German model?
Well,
It was I forgot the name of it.
I mean, what did it do?
It gave this entirely new story, entirely new spin. It was.
I think I know what you're talking
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it because it's some really weird name.
about. Yeah.
But it just made it its own game, even though it was a mod, and it was fantastic. It was brilliantly done, and people loved it. And it improved on what was already there. I think that's where mods have been for most of the time. Even with some of the more ridiculous ones, they do improve on it a lot of the time.
I'm on the opposite end of the
Yeah, me
spectrum.
too.
I'm a gaming purist. Like when I play a game, I like to experience the music, the story. You'll never hear me like even in like MMOs when I play MMOs. Like you'll never hear me like listening to like my jams while I'm playing like WoW or Final Fantasy 14. Like I want to hear the soundtrack that is intended when I play. I want to experience the story that's intended when I play. I want to experience like everything that game has to offer as the creators intended to play. Because I look at those not as not as like this program that I'm using to enjoy myself. Like I look at it as like this intended experience by a series of artists that put it out there. And yeah, mods are cool because they extend the life of your game. But just for me personally, I mean, for everyone else, I'm sure it's different. But like for me personally, I love that pure experience. Like, so you'll never find like Skyrim mods on like my copy of Skyrim. And I happen to love Skyrim. I just don't like it as much as Oblivion.
I agree with Malego too, because I kind of like game designers are artists, right? So they create art. The game is the art, and if you add stuff to that game, you're basically saying like, regardless of, I know like you can be like you adding the mod for whatever purpose, like music, like you want to put Undertale music in Skyrim or something. If someone wants to do that, but like, or it could be for immersion, weather effects, stuff like that. But like the way I see it, it's like it's kind of like, hey, I don't think your game was good enough to suit me, so I'm adding something to it to make it better for me. But this is like, if someone painted a picture and put it on the wall, you're like I don't like
Duchamp and the Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
with the Mona Lisa with the mustache.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. I
it's
just
disrespectful. It's kind
well,
of
it's
like
not disrespectful. It's just
disrespectful,
different. It's like not
it's
my cup
like,
of tea.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is that you're a console gamer, so you haven't really played. No, hold on. Let me finish. You haven't really played like the big overhaul mods like Valentine was talking
I actually
about.
have, because Skyrim has overall mods, on console.
I
So
mean,
all
have you
that
ever played?
stuff.
You haven't played Dust on like Fallout New Vegas? No.
Yes, I have.
You've played Dust on in
Oh,
Fallout.
no,
No, you have.
Actually, I haven't.
Okay. Like for me, that was a whole different experience that still utilized the game, and I thought that was really cool.
But understand
It
that it's
felt- no.
changing the game as of
Yes, it's changing the game. It's giving you a different experience,
which
like
is
an
not the original
entirely.
game.
It depends on the
It's
game.
giving you an entirely different
Well, I
experience.
mean-
So
like
what
it turned,
differs that from like a DLC? Like a game-changing mod? What
Because
differs
the
that from the
DLC
DLC?
The DLC's from the artists.
Yeah, it adds on. Not to mention,
Yeah.
it adds on. It's not an overhaul of the game. Like that does, like Max said.
Well, sometimes it can be an
Hey,
overhaul.
Well, yeah, like how Destiny did it when they
Yeah.
added
Oh
like the
my
expansions. It completely changed
Please.
the whole entire game.
Please, let's move on from
But,
Destiny,
like-
especially the
But
DLC.
it's the only example I can actually bring up that changed like the whole game. Like it just,
Like-
but like when Max said with the dust thing, it was just like that's not Fallout New Vegas. That's not what the game was. Like I understand what you added the mod for
Yeah,
personally for more fun.
For us, like
Yeah.
for like you and me, like we're kind of the gaming purists.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
for other people, for like most normal people,
Oh,
that would be
oh,
okay.
cool.
Like mods are great.
It heavily depends on the game though, because like I wouldn't mod Oblivion. Oblivion is one of my like favorite Bethesda games. I think it's honestly the best Bethesda because it was playable. It had the magic was amazing in it. You could level up your jumping.
Yeah, but that voice acting.
I'm sorry. The voice acting in Skyrim is
So good.
amazing.
So good.
But
The
like,
voice acting. Oh god.
Skyrim was a terrible
It's not
game.
as bad.
It wasn't enjoyable.
Well, no, okay, all right. So
That's being too harsh
Yeah,
on
it's
Skyrim.
Yeah, it was just a
Skyrim's
more-
amazing.
watered down RPG.
I think we've been. I think
Yeah.
we've been so saturated with Skyrim the past 7 years or
Yeah.
however
Yeah.
long it's been.
Yeah.
That we're all just sick and
Remastered.
tired of
Yeah.
Skyrim.
It's
Yeah.
Even-
yeah.
So,
It's been
like,
a lot.
That is the like. Go back and play that game as it's originally intended. It's a great game.
It's a very good game.
Going
Yeah.
from
Playing
Oblivion
it
to
the first time
Skyrim,
was great.
going from Oblivion to Skyrim, it feels just boring. Because
Mm-hmm.
Oblivion was, you started out, Emperor is assassinated, all of this crazy stuff is going on. And Skyrim is just kind of like, they reveal their main plot point immediately. It's
Alright.
a dragon.
So
Oblivion
so
never revealed.
while I agree with you that Oblivion is better than Skyrim, I'm gonna take the counterpoint here. When you say you started up the game and a king is slain in front of you, well, in Skyrim you start up the game and freaking dragons are flying around, blowing crap up. You
That's
kill
true.
a dragon
true.
within like the first hour or so of the game. You take its powers and then you start saying Fusro die.
Yeah.
Like that is
That's
freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
I mean, you can't tell me like talking like Parthenax. When
Oh
you
my
first
God.
run into Parthenax,
Yeah.
when I first ran into Parthenax,
so cool.
I had like hairs on the like the back of my neck going up because it was like, oh my god, this is so epic.
It's awesome.
It had its
Oh.
moments, but it was getting there was just such a boring
Nah,
experience.
The only thing I hate about the game is Lydia. Like for real.
You and her, you had a thing, it didn't work out. Lydia, she had to
No,
go.
she disappeared for like 2 in-game weeks, you know, going off her own adventure. You just like, okay, where is she? Can't get another companion
Yeah.
because she's not there. You know, like, so it's just like you gotta fight everything by yourself, and then she wants to just pop up one day. Like, that's the only thing I hate about that game.
Just Skyrim isn't that enjoyable of a game for me overall, and modding it definitely made it way better. I mean, having mud crabs with monocles, even though that's a minor mod, it was game changing. It made it hilarious. And there's like the mods that are minor, even though they change the game, like they're not an overhaul. And then the overhaul mods, there are a few bad ones, but most of them have been fantastic and have great reviews.
For me, I don't think I could ever really like mod a game. I guess same reason as Malego. I just don't like changing the game as it's already originally like.
That's the art.
Why
That's the purpose.
fix something that
Doesn't need to
really
be
isn't
fixed.
even broken?
Completely got off my main point when I started. I was saying that it depends on the game. Like if I want to go in for a game where if
Yeah.
I'm going in for a game where I want to have like a serious time, I'm not going to mod it.
Yeah.
If I'm going into Skyrim and I'm like, all right, I want to do something really fun, I'm going to go on to survival mode and just try and do my best against a giant. Then I'm not going to mod it because that would be fun to me.
Right.
But if I'm going in and I'm just kind of like, I'm used to this after years of playing it, of course I'm going to make the charger do JoJo's sound effects when it's charging.
or the only mod that I was like tempted to ever install into Skyrim was the Randy Savage Dragon mod. Because when I saw that, it's like, much more for you, and I was like, damn! Oh my god, it was awesome.
As part of our little intermission before we go into filming, let's talk kind of YouTube oriented, especially with PewDiePie and Campo Santo. Campo Santo just going in and saying, hey, you guys are allowed, literally on their website saying, hey, you're allowed to, make Let's Plays. We're not gonna do a DMCA. Like, it's fine. But the second, PewDiePie said what he said. We won't get into it. But they were like, oh, nope. taking that back,
Well-
but not doing it for everybody, but just for him, and the legality of Let's Plays.
Did you see PewDiePie's video on it?
Yes, I
His
just watched
what,
it earlier.
I'm-
You put
I'm
it in the
sorry
Discord,
video?
yeah.
No, not
He
the
didn't
one.
say
where
he's
he-
sorry.
The one where he like breaks it down and he's
Yeah,
like,
he breaks
"Oh,
down
I'm on
the
the right side of the
legality.
law."
He
And
didn't
it's
say
just
that.
kinda like-
He,
No.
No,
He
he
did
Essentially,
he
say
said
what
it was
he said.
kind of just like, he feels, he leans more towards the argument where it's like, Let's Plays are transformative enough that it's just edging over that line of being like, this is content that is protected.
It depends on who's doing it, because obviously if like PewDiePie grew from, because Amnesia,
Yeah.
he was just screaming. It was funny.
This is true.
It was just screaming. Like that I wouldn't say is transformative.
Yeah.
But
But the amount of editing,
his
like,
new
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the amount of editing
I
that
really
he puts
like
into
PewDiePie.
it, I would
New
say
PewDiePie.
that. But again, like, he
52
kind of
views.
becomes that person where it's like, he's going to have to set a precedence, because now it's going to,
Mhm.
I think we've gotten to that point as far as YouTube in
Well,
general.
There's
where-
also
yeah.
that if companies contact him, he will take down their stuff willingly. Like
Mhm.
they didn't need to file a DMCA at all. They could have
Yeah.
just said, "Hey, could you please take this down? We don't want this on your website." He showed that he had privatized it,
Mhm.
and they still filed the DMCA and forcefully took it down. It's kind of like if you're going to have a game up, and if you're going to say that, you can't just immediately be like, "I don't like you anymore," lawsuit. You have to be like,
Yeah.
you have to
They
try
have
to
that
contact
right.
them.
Yeah,
you
they
have the
have that
right.
right.
Yeah, they
From
had
a
lawyers
completely
coming
legal
in.
standpoint.
They have
Like,
the right.
definitely,
They
have
they
the
were
right.
all of them had
Lawsuit.
lawyers come
Yeah.
in.
It was
Yeah.
just a DMCA takedown. If PewDiePie and Campo Santo go to
If he
court,
decided
it
to
would
fight
set a
it.
precedent for this
Yeah.
kind of thing. So like, and that analyzing
I
it for
don't
us
know.
is just kind of
Well-
not a very good idea.
It's
We're
just
not
one of those
lawyers.
things where if a company does something like that, then
If you
they're
are a
going
lawyer,
to get.
let us know.
I would say then, kind of, well, steering it more towards an opinionated side of it, where we can discuss that. Like, what do you consider as being something that a Let's Play that, like, kind of goes into the protected zone versus one that isn't? Like, in an example, like,
I would
shout out
say-
a YouTuber or something.
I don't watch many YouTubers anymore, but of them all, I would say of the most transformative would probably be Cryotic, because he adds his own commentary over it the entire time.
Yeah.
But people like Markiplier, he started off decently. He started off with commentary and all, but
yeah.
now he's just shouting.
He's
That's not
Markiplier.
transformative.
All right, so
Okay.
here's what I would say, and I'm going to take the position as, if I was a company, I would say anything that was heavily edited to the point where it is 50% different than a just straight on playthrough and all we're watching is gameplay. Like, I think like Twitch gaming, where you're just kind of playing through a game, and if you don't have ownership of that game, I would say I'm not cool with.
Right.
Also, you could say just playing through a game in itself, you're not really transforming anything by having yourself in a little small screen in the bottom right corner. Like, you're not really transforming the game
That's
enough.
the equivalent of like reaction videos or something.
Yeah, like, you know, like any kind of like Twitch stream, I feel like is not transformed enough that they should be able to just take it
But
down.
what about their personality? Like, don't
That
you
is
go-
in the
No,
perspective.
that's
Exactly.
But still,
no,
like,
I wouldn't count
in
the
the
actual
perspective,
video
but,
of
like,
the game.
in the
itself.
perspective of a company.
Yeah.
Because if we, let's say we treat this like art, or we treat it like writing, you know, what would you define plagiarism as? It would be anything that is, you know, you're copying the same thing. And in order, like, growing up and going into school, like, they say it needs to be 75% different in order for it to not be considered plagiarism. Or you need to cite certain things. So, when it comes to gaming, I think a video should be, as a company I'm thinking, not really me, because, like, me, I honestly don't care. But, like, as a company, like, it should only be sections of gameplay edited into a video.
Well,
Okay,
Cryotic-
not just playthrough, let's go for
Yeah.
12 hours!
Well, I agree.
Well,
This
how
is-
do you
let's
feel
let's
about
shoot it.
but competitive games though? Like the games that are for like esports. Like
Then you-
Oh,
they
that's
see
different.
even in
that's
this kind of
different because
case,
they get their
even
money
in this
from
kind of,
the
but I'm saying
actual
not
sport.
necessarily esports, but let's say somebody's out and they're playing something like Overwatch. Like what if one day Overwatch is like they wouldn't because they make really a lot of money for people
Overwatch-
watching it. But what if they one day they just said, you know what, no.
I think
not
that's
doing
a
that no
whole
more.
different
Yeah.
animal.
I agree, it's a whole different animal because Overwatch is strictly multiplayer, and each time you play, it's different.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were playing like a single player RPG like Dragon Quest or something, I don't know why I'm on this Dragon Quest binge right now, but
That is actually something that
if-
PewDiePie mentioned in his video because it was like a super linear game.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
you are kind of plagiarizing. You're pulling and you're just recording straight on through.
Well, that's the argument. That would be the argument against Crowdic, is he doesn't edit heavily. He doesn't edit
I
heavily at
watch,
all.
yeah.
And he has no face cam. He's not a face cam person. But Markiplier, on the other hand, does edit heavily. But all of his edits are just him zooming in on his face when he screams.
But regardless, it doesn't.
But that's
change the
still-
fact- that's still.
But
his
that's
work.
Yeah, that's
still
still-
now
that's
you're
still
not
making
now
his
you're cutting out a
content.
piece of the gameplay,
Yeah.
which kind of brings it to
At
that
the s-
protected
At
side.
the same time,
I
it's
think-
kind of like...
Not that it's
Now it
you're
kinda
thinking
sounds
of it
like
more
you're-
on the quality of it rather than is it
Yeah.
protected or is it not, whether
That's
it's
true.
garbage or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
none.
Yeah,
She's just kind of
So
like.
it's like.
She nailed it.
yeah, she nailed it.
Yeah, she pretty
I
much.
think another thing that we should mention is the big H3H3 lawsuit.
Yeah,
Because they
their
kinda-
success, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm
That
not
was
familiar
dope.
with this.
Okay,
what is
so
it?
basically
Oh my God.
you had this guy who does like
Makes
Softcore
makes
porn.
fun
awesome
of-
video. He makes really
Oh.
good videos.
nah. So you've got
Awesome. Go check his videos out. They're awesome.
Oh my god, please stop.
Let's not.
so anyways.
You had this guy
So
who won't name
anyways,
names because
Yeah,
we
they
don't
had
name
this
names.
guy who does like commentary on other people and like
reaction channels that it's just like wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, basically
Or does
that's what
pranks
the
like
guy does.
social pranks and stuff like
He
that.
makes
Yeah,
his own
that's where the
little
vape
skits
mage
too.
thing
So-
comes from.
Okay,
That takes
so
three.
so
You
he
two are
takes.
talking about two different things, I think.
Oh, okay. So where are you going
No,
with
no,
this?
this is
So
his whole
basically
thing.
made like a video about one of the other YouTubers, and the other YouTuber sued him.
H3H3
And
made
said
that video
claimed
about this guy.
copyright.
Yeah.
And the court of law stated that it's transformative enough because even though he included a lot of clips of the other guy's videos, he had his own commentary on it and made it like a parody
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
It was
if-
like a whole
I
year
would say it's
of
down
back
to the
and forth.
judge.
Yeah.
It's down
Yeah.
to the whoever the judge is, or well, it's not a jury case, but like whoever the judge is.
Yeah.
That's a judge's call. Like, is this transformative enough? Is this, as they would tell us in school, 75% different than the original?
Yeah.
And if a judge feels that it's transformative enough, then it is, and that's that. That's the whole point of having a judge in court. So, done deal. Well,
So-
blam!
So, like, does the Campo Santo thing, does it, because it's a linear game, okay, are we only going to focus on the linear games? Is that going to reach out to multiplayer games? Is that going to reach out to streaming? Like, if you're streaming the game, is that the same as
I
making
think-
a video
I
on
think
it?
so.
Or-
I think so, because when you're online and you're streaming, you're creating a video. And if it's on Twitch, it's on there for a period of time, and then it's taken off, right? So, like, eventually, if you're recording it on Twitch, you're gonna take it over to YouTube. Like,
Yeah, a lot of you.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna probably do that eventually
Yeah.
as time goes on. But you are still taking that content. You're still making a video, and you're not transforming it enough.
Well, the thing is, it all relies on like the companies.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
up to
really
their
like
discretion.
they could look at it as like, wow, this is free advertising. This is great, and I would love for companies to do it. Like, this is great. We should promote these people. Let's throw some
Yeah.
money at them, and that'll be awesome. But really, they look at it. They take what I like to call the Nintendo approach.
Yeah.
They're not giving me any money.
Yeah, Nintendo blacklists
Therefore,
anything on YouTube.
if
So,
we're not getting a good, you cannot use our product.
Yeah.
What about like things like if they start talking like at a time where people were talking bad about Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo was
Yeah,
like
Nintendo
striking it.
copyrights anything dealing with
What
anything
about that, like-
Nintendo. So
Yeah, if
you
if
can't make
any kind of
anything.
You have to have
on
a
Nintendo
agreement
YouTube.
with Nintendo before
Yeah.
you try to monetize anything Nintendo.
So do you think it's possible for creators to create something that would protect them? So like in the Campo Santo situation where they give the general thing where they're like literally like, okay, let's plays are
they're not gonna
fine.
do that.
Is there any
Again,
possible way
they're not
that
gonna
you
do
think
that.
that they could protect themselves?
taking
Like,
the-
look, if
taking
you
the perspective-
legally and publicly say,
Taking the business perspective.
And
When
Let's
they
Plays
legally
are-
and publicly say, I think
Remember-
that they go against themselves as a company because then they're saying on
yeah, I
their
think it
website,
negatively affects them in a way.
Then the people are going to be like, wow, these guys are a pair of assholes. Let's not support them at all. That's happened with companies in the past too,
Yeah.
where they've done something similar, or they've done something in public. Atlas actually, Persona 5 with all of that, they were doing underground deals with Yakuza, and that got found out, and that's why Persona 5 took so long at one point to come out. was because of that. Like, when companies are found out for things like that, they get delayed, they lose money, and it affects them negatively.
Taking the perspective of the company.
But legally, do you think that it'd be possible for creators to protect themselves in that kind of
absolutely not.
situation?
Because taking the perspective of the company,
Yeah.
this is what I'll say. If you want to do what you want with a product like that, make your own. Got a problem with it? Make your own. Sorry, this is how we do business. Get over it. Business is business. Friendship's friendship.
I feel though it depends. Like kind of like with Nintendo. Like I feel as though if someone was talking really nice about Nintendo, they wouldn't strike their channel. But if they were talking bad about Nintendo, they would strike.
Well, of course, this is bad advertising.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, if Nintendo was your baby,
yeah,
and you know,
yes, yeah. But I feel
if
as
you were
though it
Reggie,
depends,
It just depends so much on
my body's ready.
both fields, both
sides
parties.
of it.
Because there's a lot of things.
I think it's just such a gray area. Like no one
Yeah.
knows where it's gonna go because it's such a gray and
It'll go-
over eclipsing thing.
It'll go to the side of the
all
companies
integrity.
because they're the ones with the money.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends because it will always go to the legal side of the company. That's not arguable. But if a company does it, Nintendo won't be negatively offended because there are too many like Nintendo fans out there. Like I
But
like Nintendo.
Campo Santo just has Firewatch
But yeah,
right
Campo
now.
Santo just has Firewatch. Like if Riot did that to something for League, it would be hugely affected by it. But so they never do something like that.
I think that is a good point, like the money, because I think
Yeah.
Campo Santo probably can't stack up against PewDiePie in terms of
No.
finances. So if they were to go to court, it would be a very interesting case.
He would
And it
lose,
would be
he would
set
lose his
precedent.
butt off because
Who?
the companies know.
I don't think
like,
PewDiePie should do it because if he does and he loses, it sets a precedence, a negative precedence for
It's gonna-
everyone
it's-
doing Let's Plays.
It's gonna
Yeah.
backtrack everything. Like,
I mean,
That's-
somebody always has to be that guy for YouTube because it's such in a legal gray area.
Yeah.
But like, if like H3H3 spent a year and like $500,000
yeah,
plus
major
dollars
victory.
on doing this, like I don't think a lot of
And that's-
anybody wants to be that guy, having
Yeah.
spent
Yeah.
so much time and money
that's their fault.
just to have being like a sign. Okay,
Well,
cool.
Also, PewDiePie also admitted that it was his fault for the drama. Like,
Yeah.
he admitted that he started it, so he's just kind of like, I'm not going to drag everybody into this drama thing, and I'm just going to let it pass. I think that, honestly, that just shows negatively on Campo Santo and hugely positively for PewDiePie, because it shows him as the person who's just kind of like, it's their thing, I'll let them do it.
It's their personalities. That's how it is.
And kind of to
That's why we
backtrack
use it.
how everybody, I guess I'll explain the situation for those who don't know. Kind of backtracking back into gaming. I know we're supposed to move on to filming, but it kind of does deal with the
Ranting.
situation we were talking about with Shadow of War and them creating the orc. And then the whole mess of it, of them not giving the full amount to the family, and then not letting that money come from certain states and countries, and then if it was coming from another country, it'd only be a little tiny percentage of it, and that the company was getting most of the money back from something that was from a guy who died and who spent his like so much of his time even sick with cancer on.
Right.
So, like, how do you think? But they're a huge company. So, how do you think the integrity of that is affecting them right now?
There's always going to be the phrase, no press is bad press. Obviously, that's not true nowadays. And companies need to be reminded that when you do something publicly, especially as publicly as that, there's going to be huge negative effects now. And people do look at that and say, okay, this company's doing this, I won't support them until they fix what's going on, or until they fire this person. And that happened with Google and the memo thing.
Oh yeah.
The guy
The
had
memo
this.
was so interesting
the
because it
what was
wasn't.
the
He
memo?
wasn't.
The memo.
Again, explaining it.
It's,
This guy at Google created this giant memo, a manifesto almost, really, on the diversity of Google and how Google, in a way, he wasn't even. I mean, he was sexist, but in a way, he was in a neutral sexist. He
It
was saying
was-
guys are like this and women are
Yeah.
better, and they're not women are better, but men are this kind of way, and then women are more driven, more focused, more things like that. And he was kind of just going on this massive rant about how Google only now is so focused on diversity that they lack in trying to just, go for people for what they can do.
He was saying that each gender and every person, on average, this is not like going up to somebody and being like, hey, you're this way because you're this. He was like, on average, in a psychological study, he had all
like
this cited.
statistics. Like,
He was like, on average,
crazy.
women are better with people. This makes them good at these types of things
women are
compared
better
to men.
leaders, things
And
like that. Like, it was really weird.
Instead of reading it and looking at what he was saying, people jumped on this bandwagon of he's racist, he's sexist, and then Google fired him. And
Although
But you gotta think of it from
Although
a
he was
business
like the
standpoint.
extreme of what I think a lot of companies are
Think about it from
trying to do is diversify everything. So he was like the extreme of it though.
Right.
You gotta think
Like
about
to
it.
the point where you're just like, this is really weird how analytical he was with it, because it wasn't like a crazy like social justice rant. It was very clinical, very like
it was
very
extremely well thought out.
yeah, like so it just really throws
But
you
what
off. But
happened-
it's like that's the mentality
And
really
what
behind
happened
closed
was
doors.
people looked at it and he was like, oh, men are better than this than women, and they
Yeah, they
fired
took that one part and it was just like, but
But
he
that's
spent
how-
the whole
that's
rest
how
of
it
it
is.
saying how
That's
better
just
the
how it
other
is.
one was.
Yeah.
Like he was super neutral about it. He was just saying like, this is what Google is as far as diversity, just so y'all know.
That's just how it is though with big companies. Like, you remember how it is that even if he was onto something, the way people saw it was negative.
Yeah.
right.
And
Well, that's the thing is that the company wasn't effective.
They don't-
Weren't we talking about Shadow of War?
yeah, we
Yeah.
were, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we've
literally everybody I've talked to about that game has just been like, not even on sale. Because they're just so disappointed in the devs.
What do you mean?
Not even on sale.
Whoa,
Yeah, that's it.
whoa,
What we're talking about, it
Yeah.
gave them bad press.
I'm gonna buy it because I love the first one.
The first one was great,
Shadow
but
War looks amazing.
not even on sale. No.
What do you mean?
Not even getting it, even if it's on sale. That's what I'm
Why?
saying. That's what me and all of my friends that
But
I've
Max,
talked
but
to
Max,
that
but
know
Max,
about
we
the
both-
game. Are,
You're okay.
It's such a shame that like this has really affected a lot of people, like to the point they're just like, it's gonna be like, I think it's gonna be a sick game, but like I don't want to. I don't want to do anything that's gonna support that
Yeah.
such a behavior,
I
like
just want
of
my
capitalizing off
oversized
of someone's
mushmouth
death.
British orc.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just shouting and stuff with me and throwing British slurs at other orcs. That's all I want.
Yeah.
All right, it's like the way they marketed it was great. It was
It was
like the
great.
Monty Python of
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. I was like, well, I wouldn't say that far, but yeah, I look
No.
forward to it. Like, I want the trash talking with orcs and stuff like that. I'm excited. I think the average consumer isn't gonna care about like
Yeah.
all that
Most
stuff.
people don't know.
They're just gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's,
they don't
that's how
know.
most consumers are.
Yeah.
Like,
Because I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. I had no idea. So, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I still don't really care. Like I mean, it sounds heartless, but I don't know the guy.
It's
I
not
understand
just
the
you're getting it
situation.
with the game. It's like you have to buy it with it. So that's another part of it. It's not coming with the game. It's just you have to buy the DLC of the guy's orc. And
You have to buy
but
the
still.
DLC of the guy's orc, and then you can buy the microtransaction
Okay.
orcs, and then
let's not
Yeah.
go into the
Yeah,
whole
Moving on.
microtransaction thing because we'll be on gaming for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, let's
So-
go on to movies.
So we're gonna switch on over to TV shows and films.
Oh boy.
Starting with everyone's favorite movie, show, or genre in general. If you don't specifically have anything, like favorite of all time show or movie or genre in general that you love the most. Starting with Tony.
I totally love, after season 5 of Supernatural, the best.
I'm gonna punch you in
The
the
best.
I don't know.
I love
we-
Supernatural,
Can we
but
drop the shadow
5
box
and
on
over after, debatable. Like, okay, like I love the Leviathan season, but like that's it. Like it's
Sharing
been
a
so,
podcast together.
it's so weird. Like I don't, it's so weird.
That show sucks.
1 to 5 was
bad.
amazing, and
It's
then
so
just
And then
like,
after 5, it just plummets. And then I was like, oh, a little bump with the Leviathan season, but then it just went back down to like
the acting
just
is
awkward.
so
Yeah.
poor in
awkwardness.
the entire show. Go on, I'm not gonna steal your thunder.
No,
Like,
no,
go on.
I was
You
just
kind of already
messing.
just murdered it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
I was not
I
expecting.
think we all just said
Supernatural.
5 or after.
Because, like, you
messing
nah.
with you.
Oh, please tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesus.
She was
Christ.
No. Still,
I mean,
my
my
opinion
pants
stands.
for that.
Five and
I
after.
really like
Debatable.
season 3, but I couldn't do it after that.
Okay. So seriously though,
Seriously though, I don't really have a
what's
favorite.
a genre? Favorite genre?
Genre,
Anime.
probably comedy.
Like that you immediately go to.
Monty Python, maybe.
Anime.
That's a good one.
I like Red. I think it's a great movie because.
That's exactly what you said in your intro.
Yeah.
Exactly the
Well-
same way. I like Red.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Well, no, I think it's a good movie.
We're gonna put
because,
a
like,
side
it
by
really-
side of the exact moment.
No, I think it's a really great movie because of
I like
the way it
what
like
you did
plays
there.
on the whole. It's got this comedy aspect because Bruce Willis is, of course, an old guy now, and he still is this like action movie figure, and I thought that was a great way to do things.
Okay. So in terms of favorite show, I would definitely have to say the IT Crowd. Favorite genre of movies, I would say independent films are my favorite. I love all of the Wes Anderson films. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I love them.
They're so good.
And
They're so good.
I love like, was it the Wilder People? It was this.
kind of right.
Yeah. It was that New Zealand film about the boy who gets adopted by this
I
like
think I know what you're talking
old guy and old woman. Oh my god, that was great. The Hotel Budapest was fantastic. Like I love films like that where it's like not a lot of pizzazz, not a lot of craziness. Like like the Marvel films and the DC films and all that stuff. Yes, I love the DC films, but like I love the independent films. Like I love a film where a story carries you through the film, and you feel a strong emotional response by the time you finish it.
Because it kind of has to. Because with the independent films, it's not. They know it's not
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
money.
They don't have the money
It-
for all
it
the
has to
pizzazz.
be
It's
the
like
story.
the story's got to
Yeah.
carry you. Yeah.
I'd say my favorite movie would have to be Schindler's List.
Well,
It's-
that's depressing.
Listen,
Wow.
listen.
Hey,
That'd be like if I
exactly
said
what
my
you
favorite
said
film
for
is
your
The Boy with the
intro.
Striped Pajamas. Like I love that.
Are you
Like,
gonna kiss your girlfriend? Like
dies at
during
the end, you know.
Schindler's List?
Take your girlfriend down, babe. Let's watch my favorite movie. You
During
know?
the shower scene. No,
Oh, during the shower scene.
Jeez.
And we're now banned from YouTube.
Oh my god. Not going on YouTube. We still need to put that over there.
No, it's a beautiful movie. It's horrific, but the way it's filmed is beautiful. Like the way I hate saying that it's beautiful, but just
Really
especially
well done.
It
Is that
it's
like,
really
takes-
well done, but at the same time, there's like these really beautiful elements, even when there's horror going on around. Like when it's filming the
That's how I feel about
cleansing
Inglourious
of one of the
Bastards.
ghettos,
Like,
it has
such a
the
good
red,
filmed.
the girl in the red jacket, and only the red is
Yeah, the cinematography.
colored.
Yeah.
It's just beautifully done, and the acting in it is amazing. It gets you sympathetic with Liam Neeson's character and all of his support characters, and just the way it makes you feel throughout the movie is exactly how it should have been, and it just feels perfect. And I'd say my favorite TV show would go along with that. It would be MASH, because it has these really. Could be considered a comedy, but then it has these really serious moments.
Dude, I could agree with that. That was a good call.
Yeah, like
MASH is good.
there's the one part where Frank says war is hell, and Hawkeye says war isn't hell, and of the two, war is worse because innocents are involved. Like that's such a beautiful line, even though it's supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah, that was a deep show. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
mad respect. One love.
Alright, Dylan. Movie, show,
I
or
thought
genre?
Dylan was even here. He's been so quiet.
Yeah.
So silent.
I'll just let things happen. My favorite series? Well, I'm a real sucker for anime. And
Shut the fuck up, Naruto Nicholas.
Jeez.
Easy on the F-bomb.
Jesus.
and,
Bleep.
Yeah.
I've actually
Thanks
kind
for
of been
making my
debating
editing
lately between Steins Gate and Fate Zero.
Oh, Fate Zero. Good shout. Good shout.
I've never watched it.
Okay.
So good.
He's on the
Fate
I'm
Zero
offering
is
this game.
really good.
Yeah, you do make some pretty good recommendations with anime.
Not watched like any anime really.
Fate Zero is a good one.
Yeah.
Fate Zero is a good one.
Phase Zero is a great one.
What about movie?
I like The Notebook.
No, you think he's kidding. You think he's kidding,
I
don't
like
you?
The Notebook too. I cried at the end. Yeah, I know. I want to go.
Still
out
haven't
like
watched
that.
it.
Dude, I want to die.
It's
like,
really not worth it.
It's a pretty.
It's
Now-
like
now,
it's
do-
like
would you
No,
rather
there
guys
was like
go
a whole
out
cult
the
thing going on in high school.
It's like Mean
where
Girls.
everybody
Like,
was like,
I don't get it.
everybody's got to watch
yeah,
this.
it's like Mean Girls.
Yeah,
No.
not
Yeah.
guys either would be terrible.
All right, Fabian, go.
Yeah, for favorite movie for me, probably definitely The Room.
Go Derek,
It just,
pot,
it
Lisa.
just has great acting, great characters, memorable characters.
The fact that you could like have this.
It's like,
How serious he is talking about The Room. Like, he's so serious. Are you really serious? Like,
I actually have to say, The Room is a fantastic movie
It's a great
because
movie.
it's so bad.
bad.
It is
Yeah.
so
It's like-
amazingly
it
bad.
harnesses-
Let's give him his moment
it
to explain
harnesses
himself.
that
Oh, you
80s
gotta
feel
chill.
where it's
Alright.
just like that westernness and 80s
First of all, y'all not gonna be
like
coming on my
craziness.
movie like that. That's first.
You're gonna be boxed.
Alright, listen, I watched a movie when I was a kid. Alright, you don't understand things like that. I thought it was a great movie.
Explains a lot.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not my favorite movie. It's like my favorite movie
Such
actually.
a troll.
My favorite movie is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
That is a good call.
I watched that movie like so many times. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, I love that. I used to watch a movie when I was still in your TSA, and I used to go home every day and watch that movie while doing homework. I swear.
A little bit of back history. I mean, we might as well get this out.
Oh yeah.
It's
I don't know
like
who's that anymore.
I was
We all went
once.
to high school together.
They went to high school together, and then I taught them. I taught them communication technology for a couple years.
Yeah.
I no longer do that. I'm now at a different school, but like, yeah, we kind of came up with this.
Yeah.
And we're all in
Because
college
we all
now.
love doing this.
Yeah.
Well, not. Well,
Yeah.
They're all
Not
in
everyone's in
college,
college,
and
but-
like I'm poor.
Not too far from where we
Being a
started, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Divorced and poor.
But yeah, I don't know. Just great acting. This was a great movie
Show?
overall. I don't know.
Genre
And
or
shows, I really love Breaking Bad. That's definitely
Breaking
my
that
favorite.
was a good show.
My favorite show of all time, no doubt. I'm a really big Netflix head too, so like anything on Netflix usually. I
Netflix has
Debatable.
some really good series, but then it
No,
has
But most of it
it's
is
hard,
trash,
no,
and it's
no,
not
a
worth
lot-
this
Now, is there a
subscription.
lot of chilling when you're watching the
Yes,
Netflix?
it's a lot of chilling.
Oh, a lot of chilling.
A lot of
Oh,
chilling.
okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like how you looked at the camera. Was like,
Okay.
So anyway.
Hit me up in the comments. That's what you're saying.
like, yo, let me get
Yo,
them.
you
Let me get them
can follow me
digits.
at Sir Bobby the Great on Instagram.
Oh my god. No plugs. No plugs.
We will have.
Okay,
that-
Max,
listen,
when
we
you
will have
when you
that
edit
at the
this,
bottom.
just put
Yeah,
a giant
just-
plug over his face
Yep.
with a beep sound, and we'll leave it at that.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So mine, I would say my favorite movie of all time has to be The Green Mile.
Oh,
my
Somewhat
God.
depressing, but also really good.
That is so
That
good.
is
That's
so
good.
good.
It's
It's
so
really
good.
long, but like it's so
It's
so
worth
good
the-
and so
it's worth the
emotional.
length.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
you
worth
have to
crying for an
definitely
hour.
watch
Yeah.
it if you haven't watched it.
So
What is it about?
Okay, so
Shawshank
the
Redemption, that's
the-
what it's about.
The Green Mile is it's based off of
Stephen King.
geez, what year was it in the movie?
It's based
The
upon the
70s?
true story of Michael
The
Clark Duncan.
The 70s maybe?
Yeah, around the
The
70s.
70s?
Yeah.
I want to say it's the late 70s prisons like in the boonies, like countries.
Yeah.
So like they
Sorry.
had their death row was literally like it was its own little house, this own little place building, and it was called the Green Mile because the floor was green and it was your last walk before you went to be electrocuted in a chair. That's how old it is. So and basically you have this guy come in and he has these powers, but like his acting is so good in this film. It's there's no explanation why.
It's-
He
Alright,
is
so
God
he
sent.
got bit
That's
by a
why.
radioactive spider.
There you go.
He's super God sent. I don't want to spoil the ending because it's
Word.
super sad.
Alright,
It's
don't
so
spoil
good.
it.
He
It's
prayed
so good.
really hard, and then he got
It's-
healing powers.
It's
Yeah.
more depressing
It's
because
so
I think that
good.
actor died recently.
Yeah,
too.
he
No,
did.
he died
Not
a
recently.
couple
It was a
years
couple
ago.
years ago.
Yeah, he died a
But
couple
yeah,
years-
when he did it, I was like, oh my god, I had to watch the movie again, and I cried so
I saw
hard. I was
something
just
for
like,
it
so
recently.
good. I think maybe I think I know what you're talking
Did
about.
he get like an
Something.
Oscar or something for that,
No.
or an
No.
Emmy, or
I
It's
think-
super.
I don't-
That was
I don't know
before.
all the
That was before
awards.
black people won those kind of things. So.
Before they were allowed.
Yeah, I think Viola Davis is like one of the first ever black people to win anything of that
What is
major
she in?
amount.
I'm not
She's
familiar.
in what she got the awards for was How to Get Away with Murder. Also a good show.
Hey.
She won an Academy Award. She has an Oscar for The Help. She's like the first black person in general to
I think
win
black
such
actor, I think, right?
those kind of things. Yeah, the black actor
I think-
to
What
win
what
those
about
awards
Denzel?
like ever. He
What about Denzel?
surprisingly
He's not
been
black?
no,
He's
but
been-
I mean,
He's been a little
but
Morgan
like
Freeman.
for in the time because he hasn't really. I mean, he's.
Oh, no.
I can't even. Has he won anything like
He
an
doesn't
Emmy
need
or
to, he just
anything?
narrates it.
Exactly, like he hasn't.
I mean, he flipped the
She was like one of
plane,
the first
who-
ones,
how
like.
you gonna do that?
But she's like an amazing actress. She is.
He's talking about
Flight.
that. Nah, with Denzel, what was that movie called?
Flight, I think.
Yeah, Flight.
He flipped the plane like.
Yeah, that movie was so weird.
Impossible.
I fell asleep
Yeah,
towards
that
the end.
movie
It
was
was really
not-
weird.
We're not talking
It
about
wasn't
a
really
game.
good. It wasn't
All
really
right.
good.
So anyway,
TV shows.
Green
Oh, there's
Miles.
so many. I do
Alright,
watch a lot of
what's your
TV
favorite, though?
shows, but I don't. Of all time,
Yes.
I don't
What one can
know.
you go home right now and watch?
Teen Titans, like
Dude,
the
okay.
original one.
Alright.
Yeah.
The original
Yeah.
one
You know
what?
has to be
I gotta
Teen
get
Titans.
Devil's Advocate over here. Devil's Advocate.
Has
I
to
like
be
Go.
Teen Titans.
I'm the
I-
freaking.
I-
I don't
I
think
don't
I
know.
don't think Go is
No,
bad,
no.
but it's
Go
just
did
not.
have one
It
of-
just made me angry because it's not what I wanted or
You
expected.
Yeah.
It had
So-
one of my
You guys were
favorite
like,
Easter eggs.
you guys were like the right age
Yeah.
when that came out. Like for me, I was a
Yeah.
little bit older, so then I was like, all right, this is just teen drama crap. Like, will Robin get with Starfire? Who
I
knows?
think, but I
Tune
think
in
that
next week.
style of
The animation.
that
Yeah,
not
the
even
animation
not the
was very
animation,
good.
but the story of it and the tone. That
Yeah.
style of tone
Teen-
no longer exists anymore. I mean, you have like shows like Adventure Time, that's over. Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, like those little gems that kind of
Steven
put
Universe
in
is
those
great.
Over the
where it's
garden
like,
wall.
okay, we're a comedy, but we're not afraid to
Be
push
serious.
that
plot, you know,
push
like-
that like that
plot.
serious thing on
Yeah.
kids, you know. And I feel like now it's so cush. It's all about the funny. It's all about the
Randomness,
jokes.
Uncle
Like
Grandpa
I-
stuff.
I
Yeah.
will say
Yeah.
that Teen Titan Go had one of my favorite Easter eggs because there's one
Mhm.
of the Robins in the comics gets beat by the Joker with a crowbar,
mhm.
and one of the Teen Titans Go in the background they have an urn of that Robin with the crowbar.
Oh,
next to it.
wow.
Jason
That's
Todd.
sick.
Jason Todd
Yeah,
was the
Yeah.
one.
that's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And if I had to pick my favorite genre, it has to be horror. Like I could sit and watch like the Chiller network.
Oh,
I
that
would
was so
sit and watch that
bad.
all
What
day.
show?
I don't care that it was bad. It's a network called Chiller. Like I
Yeah,
would
know
just
that.
me and my brother
Yeah.
would put it on in the background all day and just watch
Remember that
crappy
movie we were
films
watching on that
all
show?
the time.
TV
But I
Network?
love horror so much.
I will
And I
say,
think
Oh
it's
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really
gone
good.
downhill in
I
the
will
last
say-
what
few
even
years.
was
I
to be
will
that?
say
honest.
for
I don't even
TV
remember.
shows, sci-fi has
No, but
really
wasn't
been
that, like-
amazing actually recently. If,
It was
Channel
on
Zero,
Chiller.
Yeah, no, it was on
Channel-
Chiller.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I need to get caught
Channel
up on
Zero
that.
is so.
Wasn't it
Need to
like
get caught
a
up on that.
asylum or something?
It's just the way they do it is amazing. The Expanse, that's a
Yeah.
really amazing show. The
Mhm.
Magicians is pretty good.
Oh
from what
yeah, I
I've
love
seen.
magicians.
And even the competition show is really good.
He's boiling.
I'm
Boiling
boiling.
inside.
All right, so what I'm gonna say is
So, Sharknado.
there is no sci-fi genre without a good Star Trek. There hasn't been a good Star Trek in like what?
They're
almost
making a
year.
new one.
Four
They're making a
lights.
new one. It's called the Enterprise.
What?
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah,
making a
yeah.
new one actually. It's called the
I
Enterprise.
really hope
I think
it's
it looks
good.
like
I also
garbage.
see the thing that Seth MacFarlane's doing
Yeah.
on
that's
Fox.
actually
That looks
pretty
pretty
Oh
good.
yeah.
I
Like
think
comedy
what
ones.
he's trying to do is what Star Trek really was, and like I haven't seen anything on the new Star Trek. I haven't seen any visuals. Have they released anything?
There's like this little, I think it's like a 30-second trailer of it.
Does it look
and
good
no,
or no? It looks like trash.
super sitcom-y.
All right, so we'll just watch the Seth MacFarlane one, and then in my head, I will just say that it's Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so going from our favorite movies or shows, is there anything coming out that you're really excited for that you haven't seen yet, show-wise or movie-wise?
I haven't paid attention.
I mean, I'm seeing It
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm
same.
super excited in seeing that. I
Anime
mean, they're not
wise,
going to go as deep as the book,
Overlord season 2.
Oh
Really
boy.
pumped for that. but that's pretty much it.
I mean, Attack on Titan, waiting on that one for years, but
Yeah.
you know, we're waiting for the next season. I think season 2 has been absolute cliffhanger every freaking episode.
I don't know,
It was
recently
pretty insane.
Recently, I've just been so into those transferred into another world things. I've been really into those transferred into another world things. Not Sword Art Online because that's garbage.
Oh
But,
my god. Okay.
Things like where it's reincarnation, something like that. I've been really into those because some of them are done just superbly. Overlord, I'm spitting everywhere. Overlord is done like really well. It's not really bright and
Needed
happy.
a shower anyway. Keep going.
It's not like it's Sword Art Online is all light and fluffy, and Overlord just takes that completely different. It makes it so the guy is a monster, and I really love that.
Oh, isn't that like super dark
Yeah.
thing you were
Yeah.
showing me?
Yeah, I love that, and I can't wait for
It was
season 2 as
bizarre.
well.
As far as anime wise, the only thing I'm like kind of pumped for is for Dragon Ball Super to like finish the Tournament of Power and to actually
Hey.
like finish that.
I'm excited for it to
Yes,
not
it is.
suck.
I want
Yeah.
That's what Tony was doing.
Alright, he's Italian. He's gonna talk with his hands. Look, I'm doing it right now. We can't control it. Alright? I'm just repping for our people, the
Oh
Italians.
yeah, Jaden Smith
Yeah,
is
that's
partnering
me.
up with the guy who
Neo
made Vampire Weekend, I think he's
Yeah.
called. I have no
Weren't
idea
we
who that guy is.
talking about
He's making
how
their
nobody
anime,
knows
and I
what
don't know.
Vampire Weekend is.
Yeah, I have no idea
Yeah.
what it is, but
Is that a
they
terrible
always
emo band?
they always make it a
That's what it
point.
sounds
No, he's
like.
like apparently like he like does like he's really reputable for being part of animes and stuff. So I don't know who he is though. So I'm like I don't know. I'm just like, all right, cool. So, but yeah, the Neo Yokio, that's what it's called, Jaden Smith's anime coming to Netflix. I don't. From the trailer, it's everybody
voice
else
acting.
is super professional. So
voice
I gotta applaud him for getting people who clearly know what they're doing in terms of anime. But his voice acting is
It's going to
so
be bad, yeah.
awful.
It's just like,
But I mean, it is his
Oh,
first
wow.
like voice acting role, so
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay,
Voice
but
acting.
like it's so
It can't
dry.
be as bad as what Valentine
Oh my
showed
god,
off.
the chaos
Oh.
war.
Explanation.
It is bad.
the
terms
monster
of
coming
voice
in.
acting.
Ah!
Yeah, that's awful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so as far as movies, I've been really into the idea of practical effects lately, like J.J. Abrams and things like that. Going into it, I know I watched Atomic Blonde recently, and Charlie Theron, I think is how you say her name.
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, you
There we
said
go.
it. Say it like
She actually did that whole the stunts and everything for that movie. Like, and it's. Do you think it enhances it when you know like the actor
Yes.
does their own stunts? So you're
It-
sitting there like, do you analyze the movie more? You feel like.
It depends who it is.
It depends, yeah.
Like, if it's Charlize Theron and people like that, then yes, it will get me more into it. There's I want to say Indonesian movie called The Raid, where all of them do their own fighting.
Raid.
The Raid is amazing.
Raid and Raid 2,
And
bro,
it gets you so
good.
into it
Wait, is that
because
movie with the SWAT and everything?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it gets you into it because you know it's not like a ton of special effects. But then there's also problems with it because then there's people like Tom Cruise where he produces it, he puts himself in the movie,
Yeah.
and you're like, I know this is a Tom Cruise movie, now the experience is completely ruined for me because I'm just seeing Tom Cruise on the screen, I'm not seeing the character.
and it's 1 tooth.
I
Like,
hate
you
it when
guys
people
do it-
pointed that out.
You guys do
It's
what
like,
I
oh
do.
my
You just like every
gosh.
Tom Cruise
I hate
movie you
that.
watch now, you're just like,
I hate that so much.
Where's
I
that?
hate it when people pointed it out. I was so angry because
I
it
just-
changed it forever.
It's just kind of like with Tom Cruise, he has a few good movies, and the few good movies are only because he plays egotistical characters. So it's
Yeah.
He's an excellent psychopath.
it's him playing himself, which is why it's good.
What's the one called?
Top Gun.
No, Night and Day. I think.
Oh yeah.
That one where he's like the assassin or whatever, and he
He's
gets
exactly himself.
the one girl. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that's like one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies.
What
So
about Atomic
funny.
Blonde? Has anyone seen John Wick?
John Wick.
Yeah.
I have not seen
I love John
Yeah.
Wick.
I didn't.
John Wick's good.
Definitely, no doubt. One of
And
the best
Story
actions
wise, like
of
it's
all
it's
time.
not the best, but like
Look,
the actual like
Listen.
film as
No,
a
no,
whole.
no, no,
No.
the film as a whole, I enjoyed
It
watching
is
it
a
though.
great,
I actually-
the action scenes are literally the best action scenes
Like-
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the action scenes were great, but the way it was written kind of felt like it was supposed to be like an action comedy. and it
Yeah.
is way too dark for that.
Yeah, it really
You
is.
know?
And the second one also equally awkward because
I
the
didn't watch the
dialogue's
second one yet.
not.
It's kind of weird though because like being a pet owner when you like own a pet when something like
Yeah,
that happens
yeah.
you connect really
You
deeply
kill the
just
whole
at the
mafia because
beginning.
they killed your
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, like you connect with that when you've owned a dog for your
I mean,
entire
it's
life.
like it's
Yeah,
like,
I know,
can see
Zoe.
it like for the comedic thing.
Not
like,
even like the dialogue. It's so you can tell. It's
I
supposed
feel
to be comedy.
that they do that on purpose to make it look like, hey, you can see this as comedy
it's-
or it's just like real.
It's a mix
Yeah, but
of
it kind of
reminiscent.
felt
Some
like-
people don't have
I
sense
think
of
it
humor, they
definitely
don't
does
pick
hit
that
that
up.
heartstring because it felt like the return of Keanu Reeves. Like
also,
here he is, like again in that actiony role that we're all like from the
guy's a
Matrix. You know what I'm
genius.
saying? Like
it's
it
also
was like
reminiscent
such a
of
good.
80 movies at the same time as being a future movie, which I kind of like, is because they have those really cheesy lines. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he throws the pipe through that
Oh
guy,
yeah,
and he's like,
let off
cool
some
off,
steam.
let off some steam.
Let off some
Yeah,
steam.
like that's very 80s, and they had lines like that, but it was a very dark movie.
I love
and
that
it kinda
the
did it.
80s
Have
in
you-
films.
he's like,
Like,
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze,
such a
everybody,
good the 80s
freeze.
films. It was like let's do something weird and let's have everyone accept that it's not weird, that this is a normal thing.
Yeah.
One word.
So when you watch it, it's just like it's amazing.
One word when talking weird and talking 80s: labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Practical effects: labyrinth.
Yeah.
David Bowie's crotch: labyrinth. That was a practical effect. That thing was like.
I've
I'm
never
just-
watched this movie.
Dude, you need to watch Labyrinth. 'Cause, like,
I don't